Hello, I'm Daniela. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to embroider the herringbone stitch. Now, the herringbone stitch is a very interesting stitch. It's a series of zigzags. It has some interesting names as well. It's also known as the fishnet stitch or the witch stitch. And I'm sure there are stories behind that as well. In today's video, though, I'll show you how I stitch it and then how I use it on my quilt block for the ongoing series of the Slow Stitching Crazy Quilt Block Workshop. So let's get started. So this pink one here is a herringbone stitch, and it's quite open. You could make it closer together if you want. It's also called a fishnet stitch or a catch stitch or a witch stitch. So there's lots of names that this one goes by. It's a very interesting stitch. So to make it, I have two lines here. And the thing that's a little different about this one is I really want to mark my lines for my stitches. So I just make even lines here. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the more even it is, the neater it looks. So I'm taking my thread here, my knotted thread, and I'm going to come up right here at this base. And then I'm going to go up diagonally. And I want to go a little further than this line, but I'm going to come back to that line. And then from there, I'm going to go across to this line. And then I'm going to go back diagonally, just a little bit past that line. And you see I can get that stitch that's nice and open. So for here, I'd go across diagonally and go a little further, and then come right back up. And then I go across diagonally to this line and come over just a little bit. And I would just continue this, going over and over again. Come up, I go over just a little bit, I come up on that line, and I just want to be consistent with what I'm doing. Then I'll come down to this line and go over just a little bit. And then I want to go over that line again. So I come across diagonally, a little bit over to that line, and then across diagonally to the next one and over. So that's the herringbone stitch, and that's a very open one. You could make it far more narrow, where you just go up a little bit, come back, and go down. And that's how come it looks like a herringbone or a fishnet stitch. So I'll just pull my thread this way and knot it off. So now on my block, I want to use the herringbone stitch across this length here. And I've chosen some of this green fabric, the same one I used here for the fern stitch. That's a beautiful 470. So to make my herringbone stitch, I need two lines. I'll just make a little bit of a line just outside the block. And then just within the block, it won't show up. But I'm just going through the motions so that I kind of see that happening. So I'm going to start here at the base of my block, that line that doesn't really show up. And now, just to make it easier, I think I'll just make little dashes every so often. And these are the lines that I'm going to use for my stitches. Trying to keep them even. I can measure this out if I want to be super precise. And so I'm going to come up to that line, and for this time I'm going to go on that line and just pull that stitch a little bit in. And then I'm going to come down to that next line. Now, because it's velvet, I have to alter the technique a little bit because it's a little thick to work with. So I'll come up here, and then again, I go to that line and come in just a little bit. Come down here, go in just a little bit, and so on. And I'll go the length of this piece. Come over, stitch in, And there I have the herringbone stitch right on the side there. I love the way that looks, the green, the contrast with that velvet. So that's how I stitch the herringbone stitch. I really like it because it's an interesting stitch. The combination of zigzags and texture adds a grid pattern that's very welcome on a lot of work. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. And thanks for joining me today.